You're listening to Dudes at 4 a.m. brought to you by gaming companies stealing our money every November. You're listening to episode 8 of Dudes at 4 a.m. I'm Alex.
I'm Erin.
I'm Brian.
And we're here to nerd out and talk about video games. Holiday season's come again, and once again, 10 to 12 great titles have come out. But it seems like this year there have been a lot of titles being nominated for Game of the Month in their respective months.
Yeah.
And Game of the Years, high-scoring games around all magazines. So we're here to nail down... We'll talk about each of them and nail down a final game of the year for the dudes.
Sounds good. It's cool because, like, I mean, we've seen it. We saw it last year. We saw it the year before. But now games are starting to come out throughout the entire year. It used to be that all the good games would come out like in the fall and winter. Like I think what was it, 08 or something like that, where you had Halo 3, you had BioShock, you had Mass Effect, you had like Uncharted. You had all these good games, but they all happened after August.
Yeah.
But now you have games come out in January that are good, March that are good. You have the summer games that it's not dry anymore. The summer's not dry anymore.
Or you have Capcom trolling and releasing a game like Marvel vs. Capcom.
Or various super titles, arcade editions.
And then 8 months later or whatever.
Yeah.
deciding to release Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom.
So it's good.
And we're trying to get a good balance because we each play different systems, although we do have some similarities. Erin's mainly an Xbox person. I'm more of a Wii guy.
That's all I have.
And Brian's more of a PC guy, honestly.
More of a PC guy, but I've been on my PS3 recently.
Yeah. So we have a good range. And so we're going to go down what we think are the 10 to 12 best titles of this year. And we're going to come down to a final vote. And you will take our consideration and buy the game of the year. Courtesy of dudes.
Hopefully.
Mention our name at the door. You get no % off.
They probably won't even know who you're talking to.
Yeah.
But one day we might be worth something.
Getting there.
What's our first game?
All right, the first game we have is Skyrim. Elder Scrolls.
Ooh.
Skyrim.
Elder Scrolls.
Before we start, just in case, happy Thanksgiving, guys. We're all on break now. We're back home in Nova. Shout out to all the college students who get to see their families again.
Yeah.
It's
good times. Well-deserved break.
Make it sound like we're soldiers. We just came back from the battlefield.
Hey, it kind of is.
Kind of did.
Every time I come home now, it's like my mom and sister are always like, "Yo, it's you're temporary here. Don't get too comfortable." I'm like, yeah, you're right.
I mean, I guess I do feel like I return from the battlefield when I come back from visiting Erin.
Yeah. Full of traps.
True.
Anyways.
Okay,
first game.
Skyrim. Oh my god. So Skyrim is one of the most recent games to come out, and let's just say, I haven't played enough as much as I wanted to, but this game is already blowing me completely away. I mean, it's been building up. Like I've been looking at this game for like a couple of years now, and it's everything it's built up to has worked out. Like I have not been disappointed at all with this game.
Mm-hmm.
We watched you play it a couple times. Got a little bit of it. Visually speaking, it's a beautiful game. It's really, really nice looking. And we were watching you play on RCA cable or composites.
Yeah.
Not even HD.
Yeah, it was.
I didn't play it personally, but the battle controls looked a little bit clunky when you first started, but I think they change as you go on in your weapons.
Yeah.
So
it's hard. Like the only thing is like at the beginning you have to get used to the combat because you're trying to define how you play the game.
Yeah.
But once the game learns what you want to do, it becomes natural, and then you kind of get the rhythm of like the combat because it's really free.
Yeah.
It's so free. There's no like pauses at all. So once you get the rhythm down, you're good to go. And that's like any other Elder Scrolls game. So, I mean, you'll get the hang of it.
Right.
So what would you say the learning curve in that game was like? Because like, did the game like have to teach you itself, or like did just playing the game you just kind of pick it up?
Oh no, I think just playing the game. Like I'm not even it takes you even like a couple levels to level up to finally get down. Like, oh, this is what I should do. This is what is not good during combat. Like,
Because I'm just starting the Assassin's Creed games, and they had to give me like a hardcore tutorial, and that shit takes forever in the start.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, for the first Assassin's Creed game, but this is totally different, and this game is like so detailed, but you really, they don't have to tell you anything. They tell you what the buttons do, and then it's up to you to figure everything out. Right. And it's up to your, like, they reward you for experimenting. So like the 2 triggers on the controllers are your attack buttons, but they don't tell you what combinations of what like do, you know, like you learn on your own. And that's the best part, is because like just in like real, like if you're actually in the game, that's how you learn how to fight, is by experimenting with your weapons.
Right. Yeah. But you also wouldn't get as many lives.
Yeah, true.
Yeah. Because you were getting trolled by that one troll a few times.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone else has run into this problem, but every time I try to steal stuff from people, I mean, of course, they get mad and try to fight me, but they kill me like easily. Like it's a hard to beat civilian. I don't know if it's just because they're really angry, but like I don't know. Maybe I should just turn down the difficulty.
Because aren't you a dark elf, and so aren't there like thieving abilities supposed to be great?
Yeah,
so you should be like in and out of there. Like
clockwork. True. And then they follow you in and out of doors. It's kind of bad.
Right.
So yeah.
And like watching Erin play, I come from a background, and Brian too, playing like Final Fantasy games, so we're used to like no instructions, just thrust you in battle, and like seeing Erin going through like first person battles is a really weird perspective, but I feel like it picks up pretty easily, and just the amount of customization I've seen is incredible. Yeah. I was talking to one of our friends, Amanda, and she was telling me that she's like really hyped for Skyrim because she's like a spellcaster. So like once she gets like her like set of spells, she just like runs through enemies casting spells and like regenerating her mana. Is it mana or magic? I don't know what they call it in the game.
It's magic. Destruction. Yeah.
Anyway.
Just go with MP.
MP.
There you go.
MP is universal.
Yeah, she's telling me once you get like in the flow of this game, it's like so immersive, and there's probably a reason there's been so much hype for it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So, visually pleasing. The gameplay looks fun.
Phenomenal.
You get free roaming. You get to do whatever you want. Yeah. Choice. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Dragons. Also,
the dragons have been epic.
Let's be honest. They're wyverns. They're not just all kinds of dragons.
Yeah,
wyverns.
Whatever you want to say. Wyverns.
Wyverns.
I've heard it both ways. I say wyverns.
I say wyverns.
I've heard people say wyverns, so I just said wyverns.
See. Tomato, tomato.
True.
No.
Cecil.
It's tomato, motherfucker. All right. But Skyrim, ranking up there, I feel like gameplay solid, visually beautiful.
Even as a multi-platform,
so detailed
game, it's really standing out.
Oh my gosh!
It would if it weren't multi-console, it'd probably be flagship for some whatever console it was restricted to.
Oh yeah.
All right, so that's Skyrim. Very, very engaging game. Our next game is Batman: Arkham City, another cross-platform game.
Multi-platform,
yeah. I just got to playing Arkham Asylum because Brian was taking a break from Assassin's Creed's intro. It was so long. But basically, I've been pretty on point with Arkham Asylum. I was going through it pretty quick. I haven't finished it, but I guess to give you a point of reference, in one day I got from the beginning to finishing off Scarecrow. I guess it said like 20%, and I'm assuming that's probably roughly half because most of it's the collector stuff, like the Riddler trophies. And from what I've seen in the videos, they've added more characters, they've expanded the city, and they gave Batman the Dark Knight improvement by making his neck more flexible and allowing him to move a lot more. But from what I've seen, it seems like the same game, but everything's been built upon more. The story's more engaging. The classic villains have been updated, like Two-Face, Catwoman, and it seems like a really fun game, and I've heard nothing but good things about it.
Well, I mean, Arkham Asylum, when it first came out, it was just being called the best superhero game of all time. And really, that's not really credit for anything, because superhero games in the past are generally basically terrible for the most part.
It's because they're based off movies and movies.
Superman 64.
Yeah, Superman 64.
Or for a more recent point, Thor and Iron Man 2, Captain America, just like very
just superhero
mishandled games.
Yeah. But when it became Game of the Year, then it became a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
And now Arkham City is kind of a legacy, I would say, because generally that's usually what gets your hat tossed into the ring, when you're related to a Game of the Year or come from the same cloth.
Right.
True. I mean, like you're saying, like they said, Asylum is the best superhero game ever made, but now like Arkham City is being called one of the best games ever made. Like the superhero is not even a consideration because this game is like
it's on there with everyone else because of what it does.
I mean, what I've experienced with it is like we're saying with Skyrim, like how their world is fleshed out. Like like Gotham City in this game is beautiful. Like this is Gotham City. Like you thought Nolan, like Christopher Nolan, did a good job. Like this is what a virtual Gotham City should look like.
I mean,
it gets a lot of credit too for having. I mean, one of my personal favorite incarnations of Batman is the 1990s animated series, both of them, and having the voices of the Joker and Harley Quinn and Batman and a bunch of other recurring villains is something that really shows through in the work. Like everything has been meticulously detailed, even like the small things like the interviews that you unlock or little trophies or even little sayings or people that you see. Everything like screams Batman, and it seems like the grittiness of like the reboot of the Batman franchise on film and the stories from the comics and the voices from the animated series all comes together very beautifully. And I can't imagine Arkham City does any less.
I mean, I think the best way to put Arkham Asylum and Arkham City is it's the game that superhero games needed, but not the one it deserved. Because
I'm the game you need, not the one you deserved.
I mean, I think that's the best way to put it, honestly. Because they honestly did not deserve such a good game because they have been straight garbage.
Yeah, seriously.
But it is definitely the one that it needed for any superhero game to be worth anything.
Finally,
yeah.
Yes.
I don't know. Yeah, Rocksteady, like the developers, they found what needed to be done, and they just perfected it. Like with Arkham City, it seems. Oh my god, the combat is so sick.
Like, even faster.
Asylum.
Asylum was pretty.
Asylum is good. They defined it well. It's just now with City, it's more diverse, and you can like with the different characters. There's Catwoman. You can have Batman, and there's Nightwing and Red Robin, and each one is different. Like that's what makes it good. Is Batman has his own style, Catwoman has her own style, and then Nightwing has his own style, and that's what like that detail again with like
it gives you replay value.
Yeah, too. Exactly. How with Skyrim, like the detail is what makes it so like I don't know, enthralling. Same thing with Arkham City. Like these characters that we all have grown to love. This is what they deserve to have.
Yeah, I mean, I'd like that. Like, I guess to relate to another point, like Smash Bros had that system with different characters, but there was a complaint that like they had like too many clone characters. Yeah, and so it was kind of lazy.
Yeah,
and so I feel like with Arkham City, although they're two different genres of games, it doesn't feel like anything was taken lazily. Everything was done on point, and it seems like they stayed true to the comics whilst making their own universe. And for it to be accepted by both the video game community and the comic community as like a great title in general is something pretty outstanding.
I think we all understand how hard it is to please comic book fans.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah, Arkham City.
Good on you.
What's our next game?
Big surprise.
I don't think it was a surprise, but
I mean, I was just having doubts for sequels just in general, but this built upon very well. We have Zelda Skyward Sword.
Oh, I think it's the most recent game to come out.
Yeah.
It came out just like 2 days ago. It came out Sunday.
Yeah.
So
I'll go in. Zelda's my favorite series, and so I couldn't be more excited for this. I wish I could say I was buying it this week, but I know 5 days is not enough for me to get my Zelda fix, so I'm going to wait a little while. But from what I'm seeing, it's the Zelda I've been waiting for forever. I mean, I enjoyed Twilight Princess, but I don't think anything has captured my attention like Ocarina of Time or Link to the Past, like Twilight Princess is. Not that it's a bad Zelda game, but I haven't been this excited for a Zelda game in a long time. Notably, it's been acclaimed by many magazines and websites, notably IGN, for being better, not only than most games this year, but also better than Ocarina of Time. And that's saying something, because Ocarina of Time is widely ranked best game of all time. And to say that it's better than Ocarina of Time is kind of like crushing all the competition.
Statement. It's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement, because Ocarina of Time, people don't understand things about Ocarina of Time, because Ocarina of Time is the reason a lot of other games exist nowadays. Actually, for the first time, because I just started playing Assassin's Creed, and I didn't realize, because I didn't know about this, but I played Assassin's Creed, and when I was playing and I was learning about the targeting system in Assassin's Creed, that is lifted directly from Ocarina of Time, their targeting system. Mm-hmm. And actually, every game has stolen Ocarina of Time's targeting system, to be honest.
The gaming community owes a lot to Ocarina of Time for so many things. Preciseness and control, direction of storyline, motivation for side quests, and like making a standard for a series that came from 2D to 3D and blew everything out of the water. Like Zelda Ocarina of Time changed gaming forever, and for the Skyward Sword to be said to be better than that, and it's I can't even put into words. It's just amazing.
Well, I think the reason for that is like with Skyward Sword is I think they finally perfected what they started with Ocarina. Like Twilight Princess has a totally different tone than Ocarina,
mm-hmm.
And I think with Skyward Sword it's the same look, it's the same tone, and it's just like it's on a like a current generation console. It's with really cool controls, which I was afraid of.
Yeah,
but the controls are actually flawless, or like really fine tuned.
They're no longer it's no longer a gimmick.
Yeah, exactly.
I think it's legitimately this is the future of motion gaming.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
this is how it's meant to be played. This is what the hardcore gaming community has been waiting for.
Yeah, thank goodness.
Because honestly, in these past years, Nintendo has released a lot of good games, but nothing has compared to like the past where we had Super Nintendo games, like consecutive games that were top quality.
Consistent.
And in N64, you got that top quality, but it was a little more inconsistent. And the GameCube was even less consistent. And the Wii's been trying to get that back, but the shift to like motion gaming and opening to the family-friendly environment is, well, like understandable. It's kind of leaving the hardcore fans out to dry.
The Wii definitely opened up a new market, and that's great and all. But the Skyward Sword, to say that it's better than Ocarina of Time is a big deal for a number of different reasons. And the formula Erin was talking about, just story-wise in Ocarina of Time, you start in a really whimsical manner. Like, it's if there's anything to compare Ocarina of Time to, I would say it's Harry Potter. Because when you first read the few Harry Potters, it's like he's young, he does cool things, but it's kind of like he's just growing up. But once you grow up, and you grow up with Link, and you take that time skip in Ocarina of Time, you become 7 years older, the world is a very different place. Yeah. And just like in Harry Potter, I would say somewhere between the third and fourth book is where things become a little bit more serious, because like people are dying and shit, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
And like it gets to that darker tone, and then you start to basically you grow up and you mature with that hero.
Yeah.
And nobody played Ocarina of Time for years, but I mean that's what I'm saying. Like you did grow up with Link a little bit in that game.
Yeah.
And Skyward Sword, I'm hoping it's looking at that formula, like maybe starting kind of fun and whatever, but if it gets serious,
it does, and it's like because I've experienced like the first like hour or so of the game, and like it's light. Like you're just running around town. You're like looking. Like there's this like competition, you're looking for a bird or whatever, and it's fun. And it's all funny. Like you meet these quirky characters, and there's nothing really serious about it.
Right.
And Zelda is with her dad, and they're like joking about Link this whole time.
Zelda's with her dad. Robin Williams is in this game.
Yes.
Yep. You
finally made it.
For our fans that don't know, Robin Williams is actually a huge fan of Zelda, and he named his daughter Zelda.
Yeah. Yep.
Robin Williams is man.
Yes.
And and that's what we're saying. I think that's what Nintendo needed in this game is like.
That's actually, I'm gonna say that's the reason I'm not scared of Skyward Sword being a flop, because Nintendo, whenever they need it, they really they put their eggs. I said that like 20 times, but anyways, they put their eggs in the basket of a flagship franchise of theirs. Yeah. And usually, honestly, it's Zelda.
Zelda carries the team on its back.
Zelda does put Nintendo on its back.
Yeah, it does.
Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess sold a lot of Wiis.
And a lot of GameCubes.
Yes.
And Skyward Sword, I expect no less.
Yep. Skyward Sword is going to keep the Wii, like, relevant.
Up until the Wii U.
Until the Wii, yeah.
Yes, because we've had Mario Galaxy 2, which was an amazing game. We've had Metroid Prime 3 finish off the series, and that was a very big game. But it's been a weird road for the Wii, and so to have supposedly one of the final games in its lifeline to be Skyward Sword and have it being claimed Game of the Year by many top magazines and websites is something to stand for.
Special, man.
Yeah. It is.
All right, what's next?
There's not much else to say about it, honestly.
No, yeah, not really.
I'm hyped.
Excitement. There's
All right.
euphoria.
Yep. So our next game is released a little bit earlier, but Gears of War 3.
Ooh, Gears of War 3. Oh my god. So
gory.
This is one of the first games I bought this fall. One of the first new games I bought this fall, and I could not be happier after the disappointment that was Gears of War 2. Like, I could not be. I think this is the best Gears game of the trilogy, and this is what it needed after Gears of War 2. With the ending was a disappointment. The story was a disappointment. The gameplay was nothing was new. I think Gears of War 3 is they finally they listened to all of the fans, which is the best part. They listened to everything that we wanted in multiplayer, everything that we wanted back into the story, and they made this game like the best game of the franchise.
Yeah, I remember before Gears of War 1 came out, I remember the developer was like a young guy, and he was trying to separate himself from like the other developers by having a lot of fan input. Like, he was comparing his game to like Halo and at the time Medal of Honor, which was really big, like the old World War II style games. And he listened to the fans a lot. He's like, he looked on these games and like complaints of like the Halo series, and he built Gears of War off the gamers' opinions. Yeah. And so like to have Gears of War 3 come full circle with the gamers' requests, and like ending the trilogy so far seems like a good way to make a statement.
Oh yeah, and the multiplayer is actually like relevant now. Like Gears 1, it's always been under the shadow of Halo, but now like Gears 3, it's a lot more fun. Like what makes Halo good multiplayer wise is it's fun, it's casual, and with Gears 3 with like Horde mode and Beast mode now, it's fun. Like you can pick it up and just play without having to worry about like your stats or what other people are thinking of you. Like it's a good contender now.
Gears 3 is really polished.
Yes.
Is the best way I can describe it from my time playing it. It's just the controls aren't clunky like they were when I first played Gears. Because Gears 1, I kind of played it and I picked it up. It took a little bit of time, but I got it. Gears 2, they introduced some new stuff and I tried it. I was like, okay, these controls are a little bit weird. Gears 3, I felt like it was really easy to learn, really easy to pick up, really, like, you get it. Like, it doesn't take long. It's really polished. There's not much else for me to say about it because I played the multiplayer and it's fun. Split screen co-op.
Oh, yeah.
Let's do it for him. We're a giant fan of local multiplayer play.
The couch, man.
And co-op.
Sitting on the couch together.
Sitting on the couch with the bros playing, or ladies. They're into it too. They're into Gears. But,
they're in Gears actually now. Yeah. With the chick.
That's right.
Seriously.
But yeah, the from what I was saying, mainly the co-op and the campaign and then the multiplayer, they seem pretty tight. From what I can see, it's like satisfying. Like each thing you do, like even though you have like
chainsawing somebody is satisfying.
Even though you have like repetitive motions that you do, like every time you feel like you're accomplishing something, and I feel like that's a really rewarding thing that people need to capture in games. Like, for example, in Kingdom Hearts 2, Sora gets really overpowered, and it's not satisfying when he's just grinding through these heartless that he was like struggling with at level 1. It's not like you level up. It's just like you just grinded your way and then you became better. But in Gears of War 3, it's satisfying to destroy each enemy and like completely demolish them because you like had the right timing, or because you had some foresight into seeing like this guy might take you out and you teamed up with your partner to take him down. It's a good system.
Yeah.
So Gears of War 3 on my list.
Very happy. I'm glad. And to be like an Xbox exclusive too. This is what the Xbox needed, because it's become a lot less successful ever since the PS3 had its epic onslaught of games last year. So thank goodness.
Yeah.
What's next?
Yeah, but Gears 3, good games. We're gonna group these two games because they've had a lot of back and forth with each other. Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 3, both first-person shooters that take very different approaches to the multiplayer gaming and for like the scope of their games.
Battlefield 3 and Modern Warfare 2.5.
Yes.
Might as well be.
Because honestly, if you've seen the trailers for both of them, and many sites have made this comparison that they kind of have the same premise. They just have the same trailers, and they're both trying to improve upon the realistic look of the games. But they're seeing them both being played. They're very different games.
Yeah, easily.
Battlefield 3, from what I've played on the beta, what I played a little bit on the actual game, it's a lot more open-ended, and there's a focus in the multiplayer on accomplishing a goal. And in Call of Duty 3, Modern Warfare 3, it's more so GoldenEye style, where you're trying to just get stats, get kills, and win.
Yeah.
For anybody who ever played Counter-Strike, the comparison is if you were a casual match player or if you played in scrims with Counter-Strike. Because when you were playing in scrims in Counter-Strike, your mission was always to win. You didn't care about your stats. If you got the bomb planted and it blew up for your team, that was it. That's more Battlefield 3. Playing more serious, more competitive that way. Playing in public games when you played in Counter-Strike, you were all about the stats. Mm-hmm. It wasn't about the team win. You just wanted to get kills. And as far as I understand about Call of Duty, that's basically how it goes.
Right.
I mean, yeah, Call of Duty is like Call of Duty is basically like Michael Bay, and Battlefield 3 is like your Peter Jackson or George Lucas. Like
that's perfect.
You know, that's what everyone's saying, because like Modern Warfare 3, you play it to like for the spectacle, and not even, people don't even play like the single player campaign for Modern Warfare 3 anymore. It's just all the serious. It sucks because a lot of the bad crowd goes to Modern Warfare 3, and it's hard to even play multiplayer in Modern Warfare 3 anymore.
I have to mute a lot of people on Modern Warfare 3 because I live in a house with sane people. Right,
and that's what the appeal for Battlefield 3 is like it looks beautiful. I think it looks way better than Modern Warfare 3, and it forces you, like a real multiplayer game should, it forces you to work as a team. Like a shooter, I feel if it's a good shooter, you need to work as a team. You have one objective, and you can't, no one gets left behind, and that's what Battlefield 3 emphasizes. And that's why the multiplayer is so rewarding. And
you can interact with everything in Battlefield 3.
Yes.
We have a friend named Ryan, who we've probably mentioned before, and he's a big Battlefield 3
He's an absolute monster.
He's a beast. But he was talking to me the other day. He was telling me that he was actually, like, how you can interact with the whole environment. He was trying to shoot a tree down and kill somebody with a tree.
Because you can.
Because you can shoot trees down and make them fall over. But he's still trying to see if he can kill somebody with the tree. That to me is hilarious, but also amazing if you can.
Yep. Right. I think like the reviews have been kind of weird, but I think like in terms of gamers worldwide, I think Battlefield 3 is a lot more well received.
I'm thinking that's what the stance the dudes are taking.
Yeah.
It's also
despite being sued.
Yeah. Also because I feel like Call of Duty's been launching a title like every year, so it's starting to feel like Madden.
It's so dry. It's so dry.
So I feel like we're not getting much of like a development because Black Ops, I felt like it was like a downgrade from Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah.
Because the story was okay, but it was like it was like okay for a C style movie, and then the multiplayer was like less because it was supposed to be like a shout out to like the Cold War style of battle, but honestly the gameplay was just slower. It's not like people just acted slower in the past. It's like it just seems like you slow down everything and it's worse for it.
If anything, the story in Black Ops should have been better. And
that's what I thought.
It's okay if the multiplayer isn't as entertaining because they have different guns and the guns are less accurate and things like that. Like that much I can wrap my head around. Like, okay, if the multiplayer suffers a little bit. But really, the campaign or the story for Black Ops should have been a lot better.
Yeah, because I feel like that was the main gimmick, to have like something a shout out to the past.
And that's what hooked me at first. And Black Ops is actually the only Call of Duty campaign I haven't finished because it was just so like it was really disappointing.
Yeah,
and I just shot zombies after that. Like it's the only thing I've done with that game.
Yeah, like honestly, I played it, but if I could, I would have a port on my Xbox that play Perfect Dark on the N64 because honestly, it's a lot more satisfying.
Yeah, and the thing, this is a whole other discussion. But what pisses me off about Modern Warfare 3 is if you look at the commercials, you look at all the celebrities that are in the commercials.
Their commercials are freaking amazing.
Yeah, the commercials are funny.
But the bigger problem is like Modern Warfare 3 is no doubt just a cash in. Like this, it's an insult to gaming because you can tell that.
I know where you're going with this.
Yeah.
I agree. I feel like Modern Warfare 3 is a sellout.
Yeah, exactly.
Call of Duty in general has become.
As cool and funny as the advertisements are, is they don't talk about anything at all about the game. It's just the celebrities having fun, and that's a sign that Activision gets a lot of bad rep, but this is why. Like this game is in no way helping the industry. And
it's not that we dislike Call of Duty, because it sounds like it, but honestly, I will say Modern Warfare 2, I never liked console shooters, me personally, because I grew up and I came from Counter-Strike. That was my shit. Like PC shooters, no problem. But Modern Warfare 2 actually earned my respect as a game, as a console shooter, because it was fun. I mean, it really had a lot of great elements.
And Activision was behind, I believe, Guitar Hero and the music games before Rock Band came out.
Yeah,
and now look what happened. They sold out. They had 6 titles that barely improved upon stuff. Now people have bunches of plastic crap everywhere.
Yep.
And there's a reason Guitar Hero isn't around anymore. I feel like Call of Duty might go down that same route because it doesn't improve that much on the system. It's just using what works, gives it a slight update, graphical fixes. It's like a new car being released every year. How different is it 2011 from 2012?
Oh wait, hey, let's not.
I mean, like on the standard, not like. I mean, there's like significant improvements, but like on a general base year, they're pretty much the same.
To the regular people, yes.
To the regular people, right? And it's the regular people that will buy this. People like us who actually like analyze the game, not cars, because I know nothing about cars, but the games. We take each game and we look at it because we're broke college kids and we have to make these games count.
Yeah, I personally bought Battlefield 3 and I got money to buy Modern Warfare 3 for free, and if I didn't, I would not have Modern Warfare 3 right now. Mm-hmm. So I'm glad I'm able to compare.
I think it's clear that the dudes are picking Battlefield 3 in terms of the 2 shooters.
Yeah.
Because this is going to go on forever. We're just going to get a lot more upset at the gaming
substance.
Well, I think the only drawback is that Battlefield 3 doesn't have any split screen.
Yes,
whatsoever.
That's true.
Because it would destroy the console.
Yeah.
If it had any kind of split screen, I would say it would just dominate Modern Warfare.
It would also break everyone's electronics.
Yeah.
All right, but we must move on.
It wouldn't break PS3s.
We would. Yeah, it would. Yeah, because hold on, just Battlefield 3 came in Xbox in 2 discs, one for the campaign, one for multiplayer. And on PS3, it's 1 disc.
And it's not even a dual layered Blu-ray.
Yes,
because Metal Gear Solid 4 was a dual layered disc.
Yes,
yeah, that's true.
That's what I'm saying. That's kind of I don't know.
That's
impressive
stuff.
I don't know what to think about that. So our next game is kind of a sellout, but also a fan favorite, Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3. Capcom. So me and Brian have been playing Marvel vs. Capcom 3 a lot, the vanilla version or the original version. And we've been playing in hopes that we will be better in Ultimate because we're not that good in the gaming community yet. And compared to like Justin Wong, Combo Fiends, people like we are not even on the radar.
We're not in the same conversation.
Yeah,
we're casuals, honestly.
Right, we're casuals, but we just want to know stuff. Anyway, so 8 months have passed since the release, back in February of the original version, and they've added 12 characters. They've updated stages. Like some of them aren't even new; they're just like adjustments of the old stage. Yeah. But anyway, they have a few new modes. They have improved online, which I'm happy about. Mm-hmm. But it's $40 for 12 characters some DLC costumes, which admittedly are very awesome because we're all comic book nerds here too. And I don't know, is this worth buying? Because I played it, I really love it, but like for $40 more, and I'm not getting anything for buying the first copy.
Yeah,
it's kind of disappointing.
There is no reward for having the original version.
Right.
Like if I could trade in my original my vanilla for Marvel vs. Capcom and get
half off or something,
or some kind of like legitimate discount, or just something for getting the vanilla version,
or give me like the DLC characters free or something like that.
Yeah.
It's just overall the costumes. Well, from what's updated now, the DLC costumes altogether will be $20, released later in March. And that doesn't include getting the 2 DLC characters, Jill Valentine and Shuma Gorath. What the heck? What the heck? That's an additional $60.
Okay.
That's a new game.
If there is anybody who doesn't listen to their community, though, it's been Capcom recently. Because in Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom, we're still missing X. And or Mega Man, or any incarnation of Mega Man.
Not to mention...
Me personally, I'm still calling that he's going to be in somehow.
Like I don't believe so, because DLC. 2 of the DLC costumes, one Frank West... dressed up as Mega Man X because he's a troll, and Zero has a costume that resembles X perfectly, and Capcom's a troll. And in the adjusted Metro City stage, there's a poster of all the characters from Marvel 2 who are not in the game, and Mega Man's right there, not circled like the other ones. I can't believe this game. I can't believe Capcom. I want Mega Man back.
I mean,
I'm just disclaimer. I am a giant Mega Man fan. And the recent developments in the Mega Man community have been nothing but absurd. And Keiji Inafune's leaving has really put me into a worried state about the future of the Blue Bomber. So I don't know what's going to happen. But going back to Marvel. But
you can't. I mean, Capcom is their fan favorite. You can't really.
Yeah, I can't.
It's hard to
get mad at them.
It's hard to bash
hate
them.
Capcom.
Yeah,
because they at the end of the day, they're really good at what they do.
Yeah,
they make great games.
Yeah,
once they find the right formula, Capcom knows what to do.
But but listen, when you think Capcom, how many different characters do you think? Just list the first 3 characters that come in your head, or the first 3 franchises.
Mega Man, Ryu, Resident Evil.
Yeah. Mega Man is
first.
Clearly in there. He doesn't even have to be the first person. It's just, if you mention 3 every time, I can almost guarantee you 95% of the time Mega Man will appear.
Yes, because Mega Man has appeared for almost every generation ever since Mega Man 1. And it is because of Mega Man that Capcom became a brand name. Not Street Fighter 1, Mega Man 1.
Yes. And there are like 5,000 incarnations of Mega Man that you could use.
Yes.
Granted, all of the fans want X.
Yes.
But if you're not going to give us X, give us some form of Mega Man. That's all we want.
Volnut has appeared in Tatsunoko. Mega Man himself has had history in the Marvel vs. series. Even the EXE version and Zero version have appeared in SVC Chaos. So there are reasons to have multitudes of Mega Man and to have Tron. Not that Tron's a bad character, but Tron and Zero only is nothing short of disappointing.
True.
Does that make Ultimate a bad game though?
No, not in the slightest.
No, this is just our
This is just
we really got off course. I'm sorry.
We love Mega Man here. Ultimate is a good game.
It's fun from what I've played so far. The new characters are really creative and really unique as far as I've played.
Honestly, it's a lot to learn too.
Virgil?
Yeah.
Big fan.
Virgil is sick.
I've been witness to the Virgil beatdown. He's just as disgusting as Dante, but more of his moves are similar, and he's like Marth from Smash Bros. Brawl, and Dante was Roy, and they're different.
Haven't gotten a chance to play through the arcade, so I don't know if that's really satisfying if they change anything in arcade mode.
And they also have a new mode, Heroes and Heralds, where they have like trading cards and like level ups. So that should be pretty interesting once we get to try it out.
Fun. Mission mode is still as helpful as it was in Marvel vs. Capcom, which is actually let me talk about that, because Marvel vs. Capcom 3 introduced this thing called mission mode, which actually is the first time I feel like that a fighter is actually teaching you how to play, teaching you legitimate like lessons and things that are valuable to you. Yeah,
and they're actually valuable in the competitive scene, because even like some of the basic combos have been used in tournament and have been like mainstays in people's gameplay.
Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3 isn't a bad game. It's just it's actually a fantastic game, to be honest with you. It's really well put together now. It's a lot of fun. It's visually pleasing. It's fun for casuals and pros alike.
Yeah.
And the inclusion of new characters, although while some of them are vague, I feel like that is even more interesting. Like having Phoenix Wright as a character, as a fighting game character, is very surprising. I didn't know who Rocket Raccoon was or Nova was.
Phoenix Wright sneezes on you.
Yes.
It's a good mix of fan service and like cleverness.
Yeah,
there's a good mix of fan service, and there's a good mix of trying to push new characters so people actually want to learn about some characters.
Like Iron
especially
Fist
on the Marvel side.
And
Iron Fist and Doctor Strange getting research in the comics has shown its influence on the series because they try to integrate costumes and like dialogue from the comics, and so it's a benefit to both companies to have this like a strong like fan service to the fans. So, like, oh, I remember that from the comics, or like, oh, he's making a shout out to the game. It's like a good give and take, and so it feels like they're responding to our needs other than our Mega Man needs. Yeah.
Oh man.
But yeah, we could go on for days and days about how we love Mega Man, how we feel he's been mistreated. But Ultimate Marvel 3 is a good build, a good stepping stone.
Pretty good to their fans.
Yeah.
And also, just one quick thing is that it makes me kind of sad that they included a lot of these obscure characters that not a lot of people know about. But there was no recognition of the Breath of Fire series, which is actually the JRPG that Capcom released a lot of years back. And it was their JRPG that they actually had that was really good. Yes. It's one of my favorite games series. But there's nothing, not even a reference to, just saying.
Right, that's sad, because I think Capcom is known for many of their like side-scrollers, many of their action games, but like from what I've seen from the videos and what you've told me about the Breath of Fire series, it does a lot of credit for standing with the games such as Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest and being a very memorable game.
Yep. But Ultimate is a good game. I'm sorry, because I have a lot of beef with Capcom at the moment.
And it's a thing. Like, I guess if we get to talking around Super Smash Brothers Brawl, and we'll get onto that for forever. Always with fighting games, there's always going to be a complaint about characters not included, and we're going to have our own opinions. We'll try to stay focused to the subject, but as a game itself, what do you guys think? Is it Game of the Year worthy?
We'll have to find out. We have to finish our list.
Yeah, we'll have to play through it a little bit more, but not Game of the Year worthy, but I think it's a good add-on, a good.
You have to consider vanilla and ultimate though combined. So as one entity.
I think as like the recentness of the game, I wouldn't take it.
Let's move on to our next game because we're tangenting on this game.
All right, so Ultimate Marvel 3 done. Next game we have is L.A. Noire, a game from developers of Grand Theft Auto and Red Dead Redemption.
Rockstar.
So Rockstar, I think, finally found something else they're good at other than open world. Like free roaming games, because this game, I think, like a lot of people are saying, L.A. Noire it makes video games art. Finally, like it makes video games relevant in the discussion of them being an art form, because L.A. Noire forces you to focus on the you need to focus on what the characters are doing, because so basically you're a detective, and basically. Instead of being an open world game, there's a story. There are missions you have to follow, things you have to solve, and what you do. The main gameplay is you interview people like witnesses or suspects, and you have to read their lies or their truths, whatever, to figure out who actually killed the person or stole or whatever. And the detail, I don't know if a lot of people know, but they motion captured for this game, so every facial reaction or read is from someone's real face that they put into the game. That level of detail alone makes this game above and beyond anything else that's ever been created. And the gameplay, you basically try to read people. Yeah, you do. It's the other thing that makes this game great is the time period is captured perfectly. Yeah. Like, this is legit, the good
1930s,
old school, 30s, 40s, where things were bad, crime was huge. That is captured really well in this game, and the mystery is fantastic. And like I was saying, with any other game, you could brush it off, you could just have fun, but this immerses you more than on a whole totally different level. And that's what a good game does, is it brings you into its world and forces you to interact, and that's what makes L.A. Noire good.
Yeah. I was watching our friend Daniel play it, and I don't think if he was having his girlfriend watch over because she had played through the game. But I don't think if he had her, he wouldn't have gone through the game so easily, because there's a lot of context clues in like the people's speech, and you have to actually listen. It's not like where they're like bold letters that you should pay attention to. It's like you literally have to pay attention. You have to be like in there. So it's not like a game. It's like, oh, you can play with the friends and like just talk while it's like, no, you have to be this cop.
And you play in a dark room.
Yes.
By yourself.
Yeah.
No lights on.
No joke.
Bag of chips. Maybe.
But not in a bad way. Like it's so immersive.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will complain because it's not quote unquote easy. It's not a quote unquote game, but at the end it is. Like it's just a different way of approaching the video game genre.
Right. And it's like
form.
it's kind of like a shout out to like hardcore games where like they didn't have like guidebooks or like checkpoints or stuff like that would like make it easier on you. This game forces you to go above and beyond what you expect in games.
Yeah.
And really try hard and pay attention to the details, because honestly, a lot of games are pieces of artwork that a bunch of people put work in. So like everything that you do, someone told you to do. It's not like repetitive motions where you just go on a mission, collect things, beat a boss, done like this. It's like, no, you're solving these crimes, and you have to make judgments about people, and they make it really difficult for you. So it's not like a difficult that's frustrating. It's a difficult that's rewarding.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's so cool because it's so like instinctual, and it makes you like it's like you're almost it's like you're doing what the game tells you to do, like in real life. It's because you really analyze what's going on, and you totally forget about your place in the world for a second, and it's really cool in that way. That's what I love about this game.
Yeah. I've only seen clips of it being played, and I've witnessed at least like 1 to 2 hours of gameplay, but it's a very engrossing game. And I haven't played much of the Grand Theft Auto series, but L.A. Noire definitely separates itself from the pack.
Yes.
All right. So the next game we were talking about is Brian's current favorite, Uncharted 3.
Ooh. Another of the threes.
Yeah, a lot of threes this year.
Yes.
Uncharted 3 is it's part of the Uncharted series.
A very, very good series.
It is an incredible series, and Nathan Drake is the main character of the Uncharted series. And there's not a lot of main characters that you can relate to or you just become fans of so easily, and you just are like drawn to, and like you want to be able to like do great things with that character. Nathan Drake is when there's a PS3 commercial currently out where all the heroes from a lot of their games that are popular are meeting together. And at first, I had no idea who Nathan Drake was. But I've recently played the Uncharted games. I played Uncharted 1, 2, and 3, all in succession, basically.
Within, like, the past 2-3 weeks.
Past 2 or 3 weeks or something. When I first played Uncharted 1, it was good. The second half of the game was much better. I didn't know why people thought the game was, like, the flagship franchise of the PS3, though. I played Uncharted 2. Uncharted 2 made me realize that this game is the flagship franchise of the PS3.
Of the generation.
Of the generation. Yeah.
You know?
Uncharted 3 is a beautiful game. It adds new elements from Uncharted 2 that you didn't have before. Now you're throwing back grenades. Now you're doing different options in combat. The hand-to-hand combat's a lot more engrossing, and it's a lot more fun to do. It's a lot more fun to do some sneaking and breaking people's necks and things like that. You could do that in Uncharted 2, but it's just much more rewarding, more fun in 3. The setting is different. You would think that Drake would run out of places to explore, but he never really does, apparently. Uncharted 3 also has split-screen co-op. Now, I've heard some things. I personally enjoyed it, but I thought it was fun. But Uncharted 3 really needs to be rated as a game for its campaign, because it's mainly about its story. So there's not much.
Yeah.
It's visually beautiful. The gameplay is still engaging as it always has been. I wish one thing about Uncharted 3 though is that it doesn't let you do as many important things as Uncharted 2 let you do with Drake. Because with some of the more like critical scenes and like some of the more life-threatening scenes, in Uncharted 2, you got to do a lot more. Like, you had to, when you were climbing the train in the first scene of Uncharted 2, and poles were breaking and shit, and, like, you had to press buttons to jump off the train to get back onto the cliff. Like, there's less of those scenes in Uncharted 3, where sometimes control is taken away from you, and Drake just does it himself in a cinematic.
Are you talking about the QuickTime event scenes?
Yeah.
Like the ones in God of War?
No, because, like, that's like when a button appears to tell you what to press, right?
Well, like, sometimes they have it during cutscenes.
There are no QuickTime events in Uncharted.
Oh, not like that?
No.
There are little, like...
He's talking about...
They just change, like, camera views. Like, okay, for example...
It's the cinematic quality of the game.
It's the cinematic... Yeah. It'll change camera angles, but you still have to press, like, X to jump from ledge to ledge.
Yeah.
It doesn't tell you to press X or anything like that.
Oh.
You just have to know to do it, because, like, you've been playing Uncharted games.
Okay. Okay.
But in Uncharted 3... They kind of take that out of your hands sometimes when you wish you really had the chance to do it yourself.
It's that decision where, like, developers say, could we make this a simple, like, cutscene, or should we allow the gamer to control it themselves, even though there's only one way to do it? Should we allow the gamer to do that themselves just to make it that much more immersive? And that's what Uncharted 2 like that's what made it. That's what it reveled in.
Uncharted 3 is a fantastic game. And I don't have much more to say about it now until we get into our deeper analysis. Because I'm going to go ahead and say Uncharted 3 is going to be my pick for Game of the Year.
Well, there you have it.
Yeah.
It's still, from what I've played and seen, it's still, the cinematic quality is so engrossing. And, like, you don't want to stop playing.
Right.
And here's the thing. Uncharted 2 starts with you on a train, and you have blood all over you, and you're climbing up through this train that's off a cliff.
Yeah.
In like a snowy...
How could you not keep playing?
In a snowy, like, mountain environment. Like, you don't know what the hell happened. Because in Uncharted 1, you rode off into the sunset with the girl, and you had a shit ton of gold and money. With your friend Sully. Yes. Spoiler alert. But see, and then you play Uncharted 3, and it's like, how could you possibly get any more shocking than that beginning that Uncharted 2 had? And yet, you play Uncharted 3, and you're just like, in the first, like, 5 minutes of the game, you're just like, holy crap, what just happened?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
And half bearing witness to Brian going through these games within a matter of days. Just like the cinematic quality. I didn't even want to leave when he was playing because I was like watching a movie. Like, I remember Naughty Dog for Crash Bandicoot and Jak and Daxter. But for the level of seriousness to be dealt with in these games, the quality level, the cinematic experience, and the gameplay, it's there's a reason Brian played through these. And so he got so addicted so quick. This is one of PS3's main selling points this year.
Yeah.
And as we kind of figure out, Xbox kind of lives in the shooter realm as their flagship franchise. Nintendo's known more for their classic platformers and maintaining those while trying some new stuff as well. And the PS3 has gotten a lot of credit for its action adventure games.
Yep.
So for Uncharted 3 to represent basically the holiday season for PS3, I have no issue with that. It's a fantastic game.
Yeah, and think about it. We're talking about Uncharted 3 rising to the top in a genre where a system like the PS3 had things like God of War 3, it had Infamous, it had, what else was there?
Heavy Rain.
Resistance 3, which was also released this year.
Devil May Cry 4, right?
That was cross-platform.
That was cross-platform? Oh, okay.
Yeah, that was on Xbox.
But I'm saying, with games like that are action-adventure...
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Metal Gear Solid 4.
Yes.
For games, like, to come from that kind of lineage, and to be the representative this year, that's a big deal.
Yep. Right. I think also another merit of the Uncharted series, Uncharted 3 included, is it's a great game to play with your significant other. It's a great game for girls to watch you play because it's so, like, cinematic. Yeah. So,
that's true.
Combined movie night and game night.
Not only is it fun to play, it's actually fun to watch. Yeah. And not a lot of games can do that.
Yes.
Usually there are games where you'll play through and it's not fun to watch because you're sitting there just watching somebody solve puzzles.
Yeah.
But the thing about Uncharted is that even though you don't know what you're doing when you're doing it, it looks like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense.
And it's just so beautiful too. Like
it's a fantastic game.
He just finished it this week, just for the record, so He's still living off that hype train. All right, so the next game we have to talk about is Dark Souls.
Ooh, Dark
Game's
Souls.
hard as fuck.
Yeah,
I heard
it's easier than Demon Souls, though. From what
I heard, that's also just
like
incredibly difficult.
Yeah, but one of my good friends back at school has it. I've played a little bit. It's cool. It's much different feel than RPGs like Skyrim and whatever. But it's just really. I feel like I like games like Skyrim more because of the setting, but Dark Souls is a different sort of tone.
Dark Souls is it gives you frustration.
Yeah.
But it gives you the good kind
It's good frustration.
The frustration that makes you hate everything but wants you to go on.
It's not good there is no good kind of frustration, but it's the kind of frustration that when you conquer it, you feel like you conquered the world and you just I don't even know, you just planted a flag in a new country and that shit is yours.
Yes, exactly.
That's the kind of accomplishment you're feeling.
It's cool. It's cool to learn from.
It reminds me, because I've been playing the only legitimate game on my iPod Touch, Ghosts and Goblins, Super Nintendo. I've been playing that game for so long, and it is so satisfying to get through a level. I don't care if I'm in boxer shorts or not, but a game like that makes you want to go on, even when the game feels so evil.
You just want to grab it.
I just want to grab it and shake it and like break everything. Yeah. Like I've been on my downtime. Yes, like Mega Man, but even worse. Yeah. Like Mega Man X3. Yeah, but from what I've played a little bit and I've seen the trailer, it's a really hard game. Like Devil May Cry 3 has a lot of credit for being very amazing, also very difficult. Yeah. And Dark Souls lives up to that and beyond.
Dark Souls' purpose is to be hard.
Yes.
We've talked about games and we talked about Battlefield. Battlefield's entertaining because it's the most realistic like team shooter. Like it has team values.
Yes.
We talked about Skyward Sword, and Skyward Sword is the lineage of Zelda, and it's got the best
essence of Zelda.
The best essence of Zelda. Uncharted is just a beautiful cinematic that you play. It's like an interactive movie, and that's like its best quality, I feel like. I love a lot of things about Uncharted, but that's what I'm going to say.
The gameplay couples with the cinematic feel.
It couples together so beautifully.
Yeah.
That's the best like quality of Uncharted.
And Dark Souls is just a very hard game.
Is to be difficult.
Yeah, and with Dark Souls, like that's like each of these games has their own thing about being a video game. But Dark Souls thing is like it makes it perfect as a video game because you keep trying and you die, but you come back to life and you want to keep trying. You want to learn. You're immersed in that. That's how it immerses you.
It gives you purpose.
Yeah,
but it just frustrates the hell out of you.
Yeah. I can remember the first 5 minutes, like when I was playing. With the first huge demon you fight, you go inside this room and you're looking down on it. It's this like huge ass thing with like a hammer. And I remember I would jump down and I try to fight it. I die, whatever. And then I go and I think, okay, I'm gonna wait here. I'm gonna try to snipe it from above and whatnot. Because again, this is one of the things you like learning as you go, right? So I'm like, okay, I'm gonna chill. I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna snipe it from above. And the next thing I know, when I look up to the screen, the demon jumped up and it's covering the entire screen and it smashes my ledge down and I'm dead instantly. I'm like, well, damn, I can't do that anymore. So but that's one of the things is like getting caught
doing stuff to try to make the game feel dumb.
Yeah,
and it makes you feel dumb.
Yeah, and it's like I never stopped trying to beat the demon. It's because like I wanted to kill that thing. It's just like, you know,
God.
And then at the end, it was so rewarding because it's like, yeah, I finally figured out the trick.
It batters you to a perfect point where it doesn't make you give up.
Yeah.
But it makes you want to keep going.
Yeah. It keeps you to your lowest low. And it brings you back up.
That is an art. It really is.
Because a lot of other games, like shooters included, like a lot of other games, you'll quit the campaign, you quit the mission, and then come back another day to try it again.
Yeah, because sometimes it just feels stupid.
Yeah. You're just like, oh, you know, I'm gonna come back to this later.
But Dark Souls,
you can't put the controller
down. I'm slaying demons.
Yeah,
it's going to happen.
Yeah. Good stuff.
But yeah, we have one more game to talk about. Dark Souls definitely so hard. But the last game we had was released earlier this year. We've all played it pretty equally, although I feel like Erin's gone through it a lot more. Portal 2.
Portal 2. This is Portal. When it first came out, I call it my game of the year that year because it was so fresh and inventive and exciting, And Portal 2 is no different. Like this, Portal 2 made the summer so much more entertaining than it should have been.
Yes.
Yeah.
I remember I was playing it at my sweet mate's place, and he's like, "Oh, let's play co-op." I was like, "They have co-op on first-person shooters like this?" He's like, "It's not first-person shooter." I was like, all I heard was Portal is that the cake is a lie. That's all I knew.
It is.
And then I started playing the game. It is so engrossing. As a
life
fan,
lesson too. The cake is a lie.
yes, the cake is always like everything is a trap. But the way Portal 2 works in its puzzles reminds me of Zelda so much that it engrosses me because, well, first I played the co-op version. I played the co-op campaign. I didn't get through the single player campaign, but the co-op campaign is something I like because the co-op like mechanic is always a fan favorite, but like the puzzles, to have that on like a Zelda style level and also dealing with like the physics of it all is really fun to see. I like the satisfaction of each puzzle, even though I feel like I'm overpowered with a portal gun. I'm not, because these puzzles are really challenging.
I would say Portal 2's puzzles are above Zelda's puzzles.
Mm-hmm.
Zelda's puzzles are great because they come in the dungeons, but that's just a part of the game. Portal 2 is literally a puzzle game.
Yeah.
It's about the puzzles. And that's why I would say, as a game by itself, it creates its entire gameplay around puzzles.
Yeah.
That's why I say its puzzles are better than Zelda.
Right.
It says its purpose.
But it's just, for a game in this day and age, to be a puzzle game and to be that popular and that great, because puzzle games in the past have just been like Tetris.
Yeah.
Tetris and then the rest.
Tetris.
Puzzle League, Meteos.
Yeah, Tetris, Meteos, things like that.
But Portal sets a new standard.
It certainly does.
The way we're saying Dark Souls like is so brutal. Like Portal 2 makes your brain hurt. Like
and a little bit your soul too.
I thought we were smart, but like Portal 2 makes your brain like want to die. But you keep like you don't give up. It's just like, damn, like those puzzles are...
GLaDOS makes you want to give up.
Makes you want to give up.
And the thing too, like this game is a puzzle game with a narrative, like a good narrative.
Yeah.
Like it's not like some tacked on thing. It's continued from Portal 1, and the narrative is really engrossing. Like there's a mystery to this story, and you learn so much more about the world that you're in.
It's really eerie too.
Yeah,
like,
it's creepy.
Yeah, because you're just thrown into like you're like a subject in this game.
Yeah.
It's really great. Portal 2 is the satisfaction you get when you figure it out, though. When you put all the portals in the right places, there's nothing. It's on that Dark Souls level.
Yep.
Of slaying demons. It gets to that point. You shoot that final portal, and the funny thing is that you'll always try the craziest shit first, but it's usually a much more simple thing that you just didn't like realize.
Yep.
Because it has like that satisfaction of like that fun physics class where all you really want to do is blow up rockets, and then you get like the power to like test that out. You get the trial and error factor. And I guess I'm just going to gloat about the teamwork factor because that was the main selling point for me. I was like, being able to work with other people and like having to like communicate and like even the gestures in between characters.
Yeah, co-op
to, like,
is great.
It's just, and like the types of mechanics, like the lasers, the moving platforms, the weights, the infinity drop, it's crazy.
And you know, like this game is so like if you future game designers need to study this game because the design is flawless. Yeah. They're like the co-op is totally different from the single player. The humor is so like on point, and all the puzzles,
relatable.
all the added things like all the different gels, all the different like environments. This is a game designer's game.
That's how you make a sequel.
Yeah. This is beyond like what they needed to do to achieve perfection. Valve is one of my favorite. Oh my god!
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
But yeah, that is our list of the games we feel like are pretty Game of the Year worthy. But as we all know,
we need to
there's
narrow it
only
down.
one.
So yeah, like we said, we're gonna each pick one from our list from this list now. Individual and say a little bit why so we can narrow down just a bit. So
and then we'll come to a final consensus as a group to pick our ultimate game of the year.
Yep.
But Brian, do you want to go on about you've already declared Uncharted 3 Game of the Year, but do you want to just say a little bit more about why? Although I don't think you could have said any more.
Uncharted 3 comes from like a line of Uncharted in general comes from a line of great action games, and like it comes from a system that produces great action games is what I'm saying, including, like I said, Devil May Cry, which was actually cross-platform, but even before that, PlayStation had Devil May Cry exclusively, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So then there's Metal Gear Solid, there's God of War, sorry. There's God of War, there's Infamous, there was Castlevania Lords of Shadow, which is a game that I love too. And games, there's, what is it? Shadow of the Colossus, if you go back to PS2. Sony has a lineage of creating these action RPG games that have been fantastic. And for Uncharted to come from that cloth, and then now it had an Uncharted 2 game that was rated Game of the Year. And some people have said Game of the Decade. And Uncharted 3, yeah, some people claimed Uncharted 2 to be Game of the Decade.
Decade just started.
I think I have to agree with that.
No, but
yeah,
it came out in 08 or 09. 08 or 09. So it would be the
those
2000 to 2010,
right.
which was Uncharted 2 would be.
Okay. All right.
And Uncharted 3, I'm not going to say it's better than Uncharted 2 just yet, because I loved Uncharted 2. But it is in the same, at least in the same 0.5% give or take greatness, less or better. So it's definitely in the same like area of greatness, because Uncharted 2 is also a benefactor of Uncharted 1. The difference from Uncharted 1 to Uncharted 2 is just ridiculous. The grand like jump that they made, Naughty Dog. It's a beautiful cinematic. It's an interactive cinematic, because it's fun to watch, fun to play, and the co-op is a nice cherry on top. It doesn't necessarily add to the game, but it's just fun to play, I think personally. And the story goes on.
Yeah.
Being Nathan Drake is a fun time. That's all I have to say. Like playing the 3 games in succession was a great time for me. And that's why Uncharted 3 was, if the trilogy ends now, Uncharted 3 is, I'm perfectly fine with that. That's how good of a game it was.
Yeah, that's a statement, because trilogies are big statements in themselves. As we all know, we've seen our good and bad trilogies. Good being Lord of the Rings, bad being ending with X3.
Spider-Man 3.
Or Spider-Man 3. God, help me. I guess I'll go next. Skyward Sword. I can't gush enough, but I will. From seeing the gameplay videos, I'm excited to use new items. I'm excited that everything's purposeful. I'm excited for the new layout of the dungeons, the extended side quests. Everything about the game is appealing to me, even though it's not as dark and sophisticated as Twilight Princess, and it's not as comical as Wind Waker. It blends them both, and I'm really excited to play it. I'm really excited as a prequel to the entire Zelda series and being the origin of the Master Sword. It's a lot to be excited about. A Zelda game always captures my heart, and so this winter break, I'll be taking a break. I'll be leaving for Miami Beach to go play Skyrim. So I'm taking my talents. No, but yeah, Skyward Sword. There's a reason it's gotten a lot of acclaim, and I want to find out why people have claimed it's better than Ocarina of Time, and I'm excited to find out. So for my vote, Game of the Year, Skyward Sword.
Good picks. This is really hard. This is very hard for me, but I think I narrowed it down to Portal 2 and Skyrim, and I have to give the nod to Skyrim. This game, like Skyrim, I think everything I love about the world is in Skyrim. Like the medieval times, dragons, magic, and just the open-endedness, like the level, the replayability, the amount of immersiveness you can get in Skyrim is just unparalleled. And like, there's really no other game that you can say has that much like ongoing quality to it. There's just it's never ending with a game like that, and Bethesda is so good at that. And Skyrim, I think, is their best. This is so far their best bout in the open world field. So yeah,
the open world RPG.
Yeah. This is their best job so far. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah. So for an ultimate game of the year, if we had to pick something else other than what we've already picked, I would say Uncharted, just because I'm a little more akin to the action adventure more so than the first person. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can't pick Uncharted, I would probably go Skyward Sword. So probably the winning vote's going down to Erin.
Yep.
Which is sad because Skyrim can't win now.
Yeah.
It's true. I think it's hard because I hate as much. For me, whenever I do stuff like this, I hate to give it to something that is already acclaimed. So like Uncharted 2 won Game of the Year already, but I have to pick Uncharted 3 because just as much as I love Skyrim, when I was playing the first like 5 to 10 minutes of Uncharted 3,
what you thought was going to be only the first 5,
which I thought was going to be the end of the game, I recognized myself as a gamer. I was incredibly happy, and I realized that this is why I'm in video games. This is why I care about video games. And as Skyrim, because it's a slower build, I didn't realize that till later. And even though one is not better than the other, it's just that immediate quality about the Uncharted series that still has not left the third installment. Makes it that much better.
Only done better.
There's with Skyrim you're starting from the ground, so you're starting from the ground and you build up, and the same thing is going to be true for Link.
Yeah,
eventually that you're going to be really badass, but at the start of the game you just Link.
Yeah.
But in Uncharted, you're Nathan Drake.
Yeah,
forever.
And that comes with
a lot of baggage, good and bad.
Good and bad, but you're gonna parkour some crap. You're gonna shoot some crap up. You're gonna sneak around. You're gonna do a lot of cool things
and get some treasure.
And you're gonna do it in a really cinematically beautiful way.
Oh yeah. And this game explored the story between Sully and Drake, and another thing I'm saying you were playing this game, and once all these characters from the previous games show up, it's like a reunion. That's how happy.
There's a really good feeling.
It is. It's such a good. It's hard to describe, but once you see Elena and you see Chloe, it's just this is where you need to be. You don't want to leave this.
And the fact that you care so much
world
is a big thing.
Yeah.
Some characters I could say for Final Fantasy series, many of the games start with new characters and you have to learn to love them. Uncharted makes you like these characters and want to you're concerned for them. Sully, how much garbage you get into and how many times you just show up out of nowhere.
And Sully's there to just save your ass.
Yes. And Nathan goes beyond all odds and has absurdly great upper body strength to climb everything. He's jacked. But you care about these characters, you care about the story, and to make it feel like a movie, and yet you're playing it, and a lot of games try to do that, and most are successful, but nothing does it like Uncharted.
Yeah. I will say this, though. We do have a bias for Uncharted as a group, because Uncharted is the only game that any of us have finished for these 3 games that we're listing. Because Skyrim, you can't necessarily finish, I guess.
Yeah. As much as, I've played, I'm not really finished.
And Zelda, none of us
have played it yet. But I've finished Uncharted 3. So my argument with Uncharted 3 comes with a lot more evidence because I had the whole body of work to work with. So I've played through the whole thing, and it's I can actually say as a game, it's a whole.
Yeah, and you don't not everyone has to finish a game to really get a feel for what it's worth. You should.
No,
get your money's worth.
Yeah, of course.
No, you don't.
I'm just saying,
to form an opinion.
in terms of a critical standpoint.
Because Skyward Sword, when it comes out, when I get to play it, it's gonna be a big deal. But now, I'm saying Uncharted 3,
and that's what I was saying. Skyward Sword, is the same feel as Skyrim. It's like Brian was saying, it's a slow build. It's not as immediate of a feedback as you want.
But at the end,
it's good. But with Uncharted 3, it's just that
it's immediate.
That immediate appeal, and that's what Uncharted 2. That's why it won. And it's very interesting because this year it's so much harder. This is
a pretty stacked
in the past decade. This might be the greatest year of gaming, and for
cross platform.
Oh yeah, and for Uncharted 3 to sneak by again and take that metal is pretty interesting. And it's
well
very
deserved.
Very props to Naughty Dog, because this formula is something that is appealing to everyone.
Because it grabs you and it shakes you.
Yeah.
I just hope it doesn't stale out like the unfortunate Call of Duty series.
Oh yeah, no. There's. I hope not. This probably won't.
But yeah, that's our pick. All 3 games, definitely game of the years. If you
all
have all 3 systems and you can buy all of them, you should.
I'm just saying, lol, Xbox, because they're no exclusive. I'm kidding.
Right. But yes, game of the year, Uncharted 3. Go play it.
As decided by the dudes.
All right, so you've heard us enough. Thanks for listening. Be sure to subscribe, follow them individual on Twitter or the dudes on Twitter. And thanks for listening. This has been the longest episode thus far, and we've been the nerdiest of nerds for a good 80 minutes. Yeah. So
hopefully we didn't scare anyone away. But we'll be back. We'll be back to like serious life talk next time.
Yep.
So, but yeah, this is go play some games.
Yep.
Go play all these games.
Sure. Thanksgiving break. We're about to go in.
Yep.
This is Alex.
This is Erin.
Brian.
And you've been listening to Dudes at 4 a.m. See you later.
And the lady told me she made me laugh. And I was laughing, and then she snapped the picture. It's like, what the fuck? And she's like, okay, bye. I was like, what the fuck? You're not supposed to smile, one. It's like, yo, I'd probably look ridiculous too. So and then she just didn't even say anything. And no one said anything after it when I changed my ID.
I tried to smile in my picture. They didn't let me do it. They were like, you can't smile with your mouth open. I was like, fuck that.
Yeah.
So now I have my smirk, my immortal smirk.